Hi guys, it's Corinne, and today I wanted to share with you how I made these paper roses. I showed a photo of the roses I made on my Instagram channel, and I was asked to do a tutorial. I learned to do these probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and at the time when I learned them, I probably made about 100 flowers. Once you start, they are addicting. And recently I needed some for a couple projects that I'm working on, so I got back into making them, and I just couldn't stop for 3 days. I just made so many, but they're so much fun. I learned from a girl on YouTube. Right now her name escapes me, but I will put it up on the screen, and I will also put a link in the description box below to her channel of the original video that I learned. And I think this was posted, like I said, about 5 years ago. It's been quite a while, but hopefully her video is still on there, and like I said, I will post that in the link below. What I use to cut my flowers are from the Silhouette Cameo, but it's an identical shape to the Paper Shapers punch or an EK Success punch, and I will put a picture on the screen to show you the shape that I use in the Silhouette, and I will also put the design number in the description box below in case you want to buy that exact same shape that I got. Like I said, it is an identical Success. I'll also put a photo of that up for you to see what that looks like, so you can buy the punch yourself. So now the punch that I use, the reason I like to cut it from the Cameo instead of actually using the punch itself is because I can change the shape. I can make it a little bit larger, a little bit smaller. So what I do is I just cut out dozens of them on the Cameo, and then that way when I want to make them, I can make them, and I do all different sizes, but I use the same shape. And there's 2 shapes that I use. This one's pretty much identical to the EK Success photo that I showed you, and then this one is similar, but it has more of a heart shape petal, as you can see, but they are both 5-petal flower shapes. Okay, so they do make a little bit different flower, but again, they turn out very similar. So this is the shape here. Okay, and this is this shape here. So it just gives it a little bit different look. So there, you can use any type of cardstock. You pretty much want to use a double-sided cardstock. You don't want to use paper that's only colored on one side. I mean, unless that's the look you're going for. I prefer to have the color on both sides. And this is just paper that I picked up from probably Michael's. I don't even remember. It's just paper that I have in my stash. But you can use pretty much any type of cardstock, even thicker cardstock. It's a little bit more difficult to work with, but it holds its shape really well and it looks really pretty. So here are some different flowers. And again, this is the same punch, it's just a smaller size. So let's get started. There's tons of tutorials on YouTube, so this is not my original idea, but they are so much fun to make. So to go with this punch, excuse me, I have 7 flowers. And if it's thin enough cardstock, which this is fairly thin, I stack them and do several of them at once. But let me just do one to show you. You want to take a paintbrush or a skewer, anything round, and you want to roll the petals. So you want to roll them around the paintbrush. Do that with all of your petals. Okay, and like I said, to save time, I stack them. I can usually do about 4 with this thickness. You're going to need hot glue. You can probably, I've never tried it with wet glue, you can probably use wet glue, but it'll most likely take you quite a bit longer to wait for that glue to set up. So again, I'm bending the flowers on at all the petals. This flower here, by the way, is 1 3/4 in size. You can do anything you want, 2 inch, 1 1/2. These are 1 3/4. So again, I have 7 of them. The very first one is going to be the middle of your rose, the bud. Okay, so we're going to take 2 of the petals. You want to skip one in between, and you want to roll them together to form a bud. Okay, so I'm going to get them a tighter bud, you want to put one on the outside and one on the inside of that flower. If you wrapped it around each other, you can do it that way as well, but this just gives it a little bit more of an intricate look. And when you do so, you don't want it to glue to the side. You want to make sure that this is pretty much straight up and down. Okay, so I'm going to add a little hot glue to this side and on the inside, that way I can sandwich them together. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. So a little bit of hot glue there and on the side there. And now I'm just going to push them together and hold them for a minute while it sets up. Okay, and once it's set up, I like to bend it in the middle just so it's a little bit more round. Okay. Now you're going to bring each one of these petals up and glue them together. I like to do them all at once, but I'll show you one at a time so you can see. And I also like to add glue in the middle from side to side because I want glue on this side and I want glue on this side. That way it adheres to the other petals. If you put glue just in the middle, you can do that as well, but it won't, these sides will be lifted up a little. So again, I'll do one at a time on this one to show you. Okay, I add glue there and wrap it around and hold it for a minute, just let it set up. And now I'm going to do the same on these other 2. And just pull them up and wrap them around and hold them for a minute. Okay, and that forms your bud. Now the next thing you want to do is add it into the center of one of your other petals. And you want to, there's going to be points on your flower bud. You want to take those points and center them so they're in the middle of each petal. That way when your flower bud opens, your petals will be offset with each other. Okay, so now I'm going to add glue around. I want to add it to a little bit to the bottom, but I also want to add it around the outside of this bud. That way when I place it in the center and pull the leaves up, it will adhere to the sides. But you don't want glue up at the top of the bud because you will see that. So I'm adding hot glue all the way around and a little bit in the middle. And I will place it in the center of the bud with those points facing each petal. And you want to try and get it in the center as best as possible and lift all of your petals up and hold them for a minute. Okay, so I just hold it there for a minute, let the glue set up. You will get glue strings everywhere, but I'll show you how you can get rid of those at the end. So now you want to do the exact same thing with your next petal. Go all the way around the outside and at the bottom. Place it in the middle of your bud. You will see the glue seeping out, but that's what you want because that's what's going to hold your petals up. And then pull all your petals up and hold it for a minute. Again, same thing. These are super quick to make. So now I've used 4 of my petals and I have 3 left. I want to do the exact same thing. Place it in, make sure your points are going to the middle of the next petal, and pull this all up. Now at this point where I have 2 petals left, I like to start forming my petals a little bit more. I'm taking just a standard pair of tweezers that have glue all over them, and I'm going to start bending the petals out. You can do this with your fingers, it's just quicker with a tool of your tweezers. Just going around and bending all the petals out. If you like your petals to be inked, you can ink them before you ever start gluing them all together. You can use some distress ink or any type of ink you want. Now once you get down to the bud, you don't want to mess with the bud because we actually have glue higher up, so it'll usually tear the paper if you try to do that. So this is what we have so far. Okay, now next thing is I'm just going to add glue mostly to the very bottom and set it in, offsetting my petals slightly. So you can see where your petals are. You want to offset them from the bottom. And you can stop wherever you want. If you were happy with just that, you can stop. Which sometimes I do that and it'll make a much smaller flower. But I usually like the fuller flower. So that's what I'm doing here. So now I'm going to add my last petal and the exact same thing. I'm going to offset that with the previous petals. Kind of turn it. That's the good thing about hot glue is you have a minute to, or a few seconds at least, to adjust it before the glue sets up. And now you can further play with your petals to get the look that you like. I don't want to see a large contrast between that first set of petals with the last 2, so I like to then kind of bend it out to make it look like it's all one. And if there's any flowers hanging too low, or excuse me, any petals hanging too low, you can stick a little bit of hot glue and push them up. But I think I'm happy with this one. So this is what you have. Super pretty, super quick. And you will see glue, hot glue strings. So all you have to do is take your heat tool and run it over your flower to get rid of those. They will just all of a sudden disappear. So let me do that real quick. Okay, and there you have it. Super quick, super cute. So again, you can try different types of shapes if you'd like, and you'll get a little bit difference in your flower, a little bit varied look. But again, this is the one we made today. and here's the rest of them. If you have any questions, then please leave them in the comments below. I will again link the original tutorial that I had learned this from years ago in the description box below, and I will also leave the design numbers to these two shapes if you own a Cameo and you want to purchase these exact shapes. So thanks for watching.